Neck positions are dumb. Discuss. Hello, wonderful guitar people. Today I want to talk about neck positions on guitar, why I think they are dumb, and the very specific circumstances under which I will teach them. If you're a fan of no-nonsense guitar learning, then you should subscribe to this channel, as I put out new videos every Friday. Sometimes they are specific licks and tricks, sometimes they are gear reviews, sometimes they are music theory rants. Yeah, you should subscribe and you should hit the bell icon as well to get updates every time I put a video out. That is the sales pitch out of the way. Let's begin. So firstly, what are guitar positions? Guitar positions are a way of knowing where on the fretboard you should play specific bar chords or scales. It allows you to know what chord voicings a composer anticipates you using, or lets you know that there might be an easy way to approach a specific lead line by starting in a position you wouldn't necessarily anticipate. So if I say A minor 5th position, you should know to play an A minor bar chord rooted to the 5th fret. These can usually be indicated on notation with Roman numerals, but since tab has become more and more popular, it's kind of made the whole position marking thing obsolete. Which brings me to my next bit. Why is the concept of neck positions dumb? They are, in my opinion, pointless because the number that dictates the position is the same as the fret number. So fret 1 is position 1, for example. So we could quite easily replace the word position with the word fret. Everyone would know what we meant, and we wouldn't have to pointlessly throw around extra terms. It's just unnecessary, right? For example, could you play A minor at the 5th position becomes could you play A minor at the 5th fret? Easy. If it meant something other than the fret number, then it would make sense. But it doesn't. So when will I teach neck positions? I sometimes use neck positions as a starting point for teaching the modes, because it allows a student to think about a scale as being something you can play all over the neck, rather than being confined to a box shape. I'll usually talk about how major and minor scales can be played together, or one after the other, rather, and then how we can work out the notes in between. Usually that's enough of a basis for students to start building mode knowledge on top of, but sometimes I'll talk about these traditional scale positions for a couple weeks, and then basically replace the position number with the name of that mode. For example, if we're in A minor, we could play 3rd position A minor, but then I would start referring to it as G Mixolydian. Similarly, B major 4th position becomes G sharp Aeolian. I prefer this because it makes more sense to refer to the modes in terms of how they actually relate to each other, rather than being these abstract and separate scales, which is how they're usually taught. Maybe not in a classroom, but certainly on the internet. That way can be helpful to teaching modal modulation, but with my method you actually learn how modes are created, or rather how they're derived from the major scale, and how they relate to each other, so when you do want to address modulation down the line, you have a much better foundational understanding of the modes. It certainly doesn't have a detrimental effect when we start talking about modal modulation, which was, to be honest, a concern when I first tried this. Oh, but I will use the term open position when referring to open chords or scales which use open strings, because you can't say the 0th fret because it's not a fret, right? That is why I don't usually teach neck positions, because we can just say fret 3, for example, and we all know what's going on. Also, a little bit of information in there about how I approach teaching relative major and minor scales, and then teaching the modes. Let's wrap up with our commenter of the week, which this week is Trav's Guide, who commented on my Guitarists Are the Worst video, saying, "Solid gold, so refined." Thanks, man. I I like to be concise with the things that irritate me. So I'm glad that came across. Excuse me. That is it for this week. Leave your questions in the comments section below if you have any, or if you just want to say hi, you could do that as well. If you want to press the like button, YouTube might actually let my videos appear in searches, and I might actually hit 1,000 subs this year, and I can start earning that sweet, sweet YouTube dollar again. Oh boy. I will see you next Friday at 4 PM GMT. Toodaloo.